Steve Thorson, MILF and Cookies. Stephen Thorson, Biscuits and MILF UK and Over, the sexual memoirs of Steve Thorson. Read about how Thorson made erotic advances to Latina moms by Philippe Chang and Prego John. Intro. A long time ago, before Atlantis began its gradual descent into the Atlantic Ocean, there lived a Nakaal who went by the name of Arasi Jero. One day, Arasi encountered a strange being named Leknuk, the queen of the period blood vampires who reigned on Mars for over 47,000 years. Leknuk told our young hero of a prophecy which would change the entire battery-powered battery charger industry as they had then known it. However, young Arasi would encounter various hardships along the way. Hardships which would forever change the entire T-calculator industry as they had then known it. Only by teaming up and fusing into one whole being could they fulfill these prophecies and save the entire Earth industry as they had then known it to be at that time. And so, the two attempted to join together through means of fusion, but ran into many obstacles. Obstacles which would change the way that they would be able to fuse and fulfill the whole prophecy shite as they had known it in that time period when Leknuk had approached Arasi with the mysticalness of the prophecies. And so they gave up, but 47 years later, when the battery-powered battery charger industry had changed as they had previously known it, they decided to try again. That's when the great mage I called Quest appeared to put his FK into the coffee. He told our young heroes that they lived in a realm known as reality, a place where two separate entities cannot just magically form into one being, without the help of a magi of course, nor could they grow their hair out super long or turn people into chocolate and then eat them like groceries. And so, with the knowledge of this new knowledge, Arasi and Leknuk ventured off into the 12 realms searching for the place in which they could become one. 47 years later, after the battery-powered battery charger industry wars had settled down, and the T-calculator industry wars had begun as a result of the battery-powered battery charger industry changing more than they had known it nearly 94 years ago, Leknuk and her then-husband, Leknuk, had returned to the realm of reality where two separate entities could not just magically form into one being, without the help of a magi. It was there that Leknuk had began his studies in the practice of physical anatomical alchemical studies, and the young Leknuk had began her studies in sacred geometry and omaticosyology. In the span of 47 years, Leknuk and her husband bore 1,856 children, all of whom died except for 3. The children's names were Mountain, Damon, and Ti-30X. Mountain and Damon each bore over 9,000 children, all of whom are now dead, while Ti-30X bore 4 children. Leknuk and her clan went by the name Compress, which they had chosen out of a magician's hat to be their family surname. Those listed of the tribe of Manasseh were 32,200. 135, the Compress family were tight-knit, and always loved one another throughout all of their days. That is until a dark secret had been discovered by Leknuk, the family Ahmad Casa. While perusing through Instagram, a popular online marijuana website, our young Ahmad Casa encountered a male who went by the name of Yamama's favorite DJ Tanner, a distributor in his area. Leknuk messaged the lad saying, "Yo fam, I need about a gram of that AK-47 and an ounce of whatever you got left. Preferably Shark's Breath or some Optimus Prime. When you get this message bro. Eerily need this shit. My wife's driving me crazy. She be coming home at different hours of the night smelling like frankincense and myrrh to poke those widows. Almost every time she comes home she tells me to strip for her and that she expects a hot meal and some booty after a long day at work, but when I find my iPhone on my 2013 Apple MacBook Pro with limited edition Green Day American Idiot and Linkin Park Crawling concert stickers, it showed me that she was at some sleazy bar named Kawaii in EA Street Senpai in DA Sheets. Then when I texted her she said she was getting hard in DA paint, whatever that means, she getting it on Leaked Wayne in DA GIF. To make matters even worse, we have this kid named Ti-30X and I don't really think she's mine. Eerily need someone right now. Are you her father, fam? Hours have now passed by and Yamama's favorite DJ Slowpoke Guy Fieri arrived with that herb. Our viral hero Arasi Jero smokes that dank purple Urkel. Yamama's favorite DJ Tanner exclaimed, "Hey man, I got that sticky icky icky." Baziri Khosrow Hossain Ali, the Iron Sheik, the chieftain of the Pooty Potato tribe, approached our valiant hero and stated, "As a kid, what brought me in the gym, what got me in there every day was a chance to break your personal best, a chance to be strong. America is a great power possessed of tremendous military might and a wide-ranging economy, but all this is built on an unstable foundation which can be targeted, with special attention to its obvious weak spots. We don't need a weakened government but a strong government that would take responsibility for the rights of the individual and care for the society as a whole. If America is hit in 100th of these weak spots, God willing, it will stumble, wither away and relinquish world leadership. We shall fight against them, throw them in prisons and destroy them. The truth is that men are tired of liberty. Democracy is beautiful in theory. In practice it is a fallacy. Anyone who sees and paints the sky green and fields blue ought to be sterilized. If you don't learn from your mistakes, then they become regrets. You and America will see that someday. Socialism is a fraud, a comedy, a phantom, a blackmail. I just really dig that. If you can drink a drink, can you food a food? Arasi Jero's spirit animals, Ryosu, Boston Jews, and Kevin Postano, were projected into the physical realm. Arasi Jero, origin of all that is good and mother to us all. Sealed away by the dark forces, we have spent years in this wacky tobacco. Time passed, but we were unable to make our way to freedom. But now, your power has lifted the curse that plagued us. We, Ryosu, Justin Jukes, and Kevin Postano, your spirit animals, lend you our power of imperial wizardry. Arasi Jero aspired to level 69. Arasi Jero is evolving! Congratulations, your Arasi Jero evolved into imperial wizard Josh Opek. Josh Opek gets a whiff of the air and exclaims, "I can smell filthy poopy potato tribe member. I don't know where it is, but once I found out where it is I'll kill it." There's a silence in the room. Josh Opek continues, "I never told you how racist I am. You thought I was a chill guy who added emphasis to the conversation. No, I'm a filthy racist, brother. You know someone should go to those potato ghettos and clean them out, yeah." Yamama's favorite DJ Tanner responds, "Are talking about killing an entire ethnic group. You do know potato lives matter, right? Hey brother, all lives matter, yeah. All I'm saying is that we should clean those ghettos. I want kids someday. I want a bright future for them," replied Jasho. The Iron Sheik adds on saying, "Why does your imperial robe say visit AtlantisStormfront.com? What is that all about? You know they got neat ideas, brother, just like the Westboro Baptist Church. I heard good things, brother. They say the two notches on a potato skull mean they have a more primal instinct like the animal, yeah," said Jasho. "You should be more nice and welcoming to the potato bio," says the Iron Sheik. Joshua interrupts, "You see this tattoo, brother? It means potatoes not welcomed." All of a sudden, Joshua yanked off his pantaloons and began running toward the Iron Sheik's home village. Once there, he would look for the Iron Sheik's teepee, where he would then find Sheik's wives and children. Joshua says, "Oh sweet Mrs. Sheik, I wanna get all up in them cheeks, but first they need to know if you are a potato because I cannot breed with potatoes, yeah." Mrs. Sheik responds, "Oh Joshua, I would gladly let you up in these cheeks. Ever since my husband cheated on me with that Hulk guy, I've been lonely, and he hasn't been able to satisfy all of my sensual needs since he gives his all to the Hulk man. However, I cannot allow you to get up in these cheeks because I'm indeed a potato, and on top of that, I'm super prego." Then, Joshua told Mrs. Sheik that Hulk Hogan was his father, and that he was there to even the score. That's when the great mage I called Quest used his super magicalistic imperial wizard powers to channel his spirit through Joshua's body. When Mrs. Sheik saw Joshua's body shaking and moving and quivering and shaking and jiving and trembling and spasming and shaking, she decided that he should leave her teepee and try to impregnate the Iron Sheik's youngest daughter out by the water hole. That's when the great mage I called Quest assumed complete control over Joshua's body and commanded Mrs. Sheik to undress. She told him to leave. He told her to shut her yakking mouth and get him a damn sandwich before he beat her fucking ass. She said she was going to call the police. He said go ahead brada, they can't unrape you ya. She said rape culture isn't real, so you'd basically just be forcing me to please you, which is technically what I was born to do, since women can't do anything else that matters. He said okay brada, looks like we have an understanding. Now go in there and make me a fucking sandwich. She said that she'd rather have sex first. He slapped her for expressing her opinions. She apologized and made the great mage I called Quest a fucking sandwich. They then proceeded to make love even though Mrs. Sheik was already pregnant. 15 hours later, Mrs. Sheik emerged from she and her husband's corner of the teepee and went to the village kitchen to put the great mage I called Quest's plate in the fucking sink so that she could wash it and then sweep and mop the floor. After that she would proceed to clean the bathroom, being sure to clean the piss off of the fucking toilet seat so that the Iron Sheik didn't beat her ass again like last time. What Mrs. Sheik wasn't aware of, however, was that all of the bleach she inhaled from cleaning that fucking village was causing birth defects in her unborn child. What she also didn't realize was that Joshua's semen, when ingested by her new fetus, would cause Joshua's DNA to merge with that of her unborn child. This mixture of Joshua's semen, Iron Sheik fetus, and Clorox bleach would go on to create a new type of species. And thus, with the birth of the Iron Sheik's child, came the birth of a new super species known as the Shulk. But wait, what's this? Mrs. Sheik ended up giving birth to twins. After Mrs. Sheik was put in her place for thinking that she could name the Iron Sheik's children, Joshua stepped in and named the newborns Malcolm Erickson and Chuck Spiral. Then, in one foul swoop, Joshua took the children and Mrs. Sheik went back to where she belonged, the kitchen. Joshua raised the children, raised to be perfect law-abiding citizens, and 15 years after their birth, he went back to the spot where he had left the Iron Sheik, who was still patiently waiting for Joshua's return, and presented his half-children to him. The Iron Sheik did not believe Joshua, and told him that he would take Shulk's virginity if Joshua did not tell the truth. Joshua admitted that, while that would be a reasonable demand, he was indeed not lying and that Shulk was truly his half-daughter and that Malcolm was truly his half-son. The Iron Sheik did not believe his companion and proceeded to take Shulk's virginity. 15 hours later, once the Iron Sheik had completed his task of taking Shulk's virginity, the Yamama's favorite DJ, Tanner, who had been remaining quiet in the same spot for the past 15 years, decided that he was fed up with Joshua's lies as well, and decided to take Malcolm's virginity. 5 seconds later, Yamama's favorite DJ left to go buy Malcolm some flowers. That's when Malcolm felt pregnant. That's when Michelangelo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, ascended from the manhole below and took Malcolm's fetus's virginity. Now this is when Royal came along. Harriet Shetty kidnapped Royal and put him in his pizza train oven cloning device. Now this is when the Roys came along. But one clone had merged with the train engine. Now this is when Kariri's great-grandfather came along. Joshua rounded up all the bastard children and stormed into the sleazy bar Kawaii and DA Streets and Pie and DA Sheets. When the group entered the establishment, they noticed the lack of women with big-ass titties. Then, Joshua says, "Where are the titties? Titties." "I calm down Nika," Philip Blaney's, the eldest clone, says, "We can go on a manhunt for them titties." And so, the Legion of Awfully Forgetful Wanking Gangster Clue Titties Alliance Army was born. 2 windows later, halfway through the man/woman/he/she hunt, Lochte says, "I found one," and Sheena is all like, "Nika, I found one too," and 2 Pokemon Malone Jenkins Jr. 4 Jr. 3 say, "It's I, those aren't women." Lochte, That thing you found is the lost city of Atlantis, and Sheena, that's a muffin. Satisfied with the results of their quest, Joshua and his crew settled on the lost city of Atlantis and established a new civilization. 2 years following the creation of Joshua's new utopian society, formerly known as the Chink Empire.